Good evening. My name is Tim Corbin. I was the head wrestling coach here at Rangeview High School from 2000 to 2018. I also coached boys and girls soccer. I was the head coach of both of those. That counts as 3 sports. I apologize for that, but I am standing in for Merle tonight. Merle is unable to attend. So he sent me a speech, and I'm going to try not to do it in first person. I'll do the best I can. From Merle Steele. Good evening. Although Merle is not able to attend tonight's ceremony, he has the privilege and honor of introducing Tom Clemen to the Rangeview High School Class of 2023 Athletic Hall of Fame. He would be remiss in not mentioning Ron Abel. Ron was Merle's mentor, close friend, and the head coach of the wrestling team when Tom attended Rangeview High School. Coached Tom for 3 years, taught him as much as he could about the sport and about life. And Merle writes that it was Merle's job to bring it home during Tom's senior year. And, quote, we really did it. And Ron will be very proud of you today. It is a great pleasure to share a little background about Tom. He was a member of the Rangeview High School class of 1997. He was an exceptional athlete, but he was as well as a solid person of character. Tom was a natural leader, focused on his athletic goal to become Rangeview's first state champion in the sport of wrestling. For Rangeview, Tom qualified for the state wrestling tournament, which at that time was held at McNichols Arena, 3 of his 4 years. His senior year, he became Rangeview's first state champion. He defeated the reigning and defending state champion from Cherry Creek High School, Kevin Walters. And my recollection is that that was their 3rd time that you faced each other, and anyone who knows one-on-one competition, to beat somebody in consecutive events is very difficult, but to come back and put an exclamation mark on that a 3rd time around in the state finals on the big stage is exceptional. Tom was named the Aurora Athlete of the Year in 1997. Aurora Mayor Paul Tower, at an Aurora City Council meeting, proclaimed May 12, 1997 as Tom Clemen Day. Tom also competed in the High School Nationals Tournament in Pittsburgh that year, finishing well in the top 12. Tom still holds many of the Rangeview High School wrestling records, including his senior season where he went the entire season with only 1 loss, a record that still stands today. Beyond high school, Tom went on to the University of Northern Colorado, competed in Greeley. He was 2 years he was identified as the team captain. He was an All-American in 2000. After college, Tom went on to a career in the DEA. He went through training and became a special agent, earning him the title. Tom would want Merle to inform all of you that his achievements were important as a competitor and they meant something. But he chooses now to focus on his #1 priority since looking back at those days, that is his family. Having spoken to Tom in the last month, Merle can see a person who is not only a natural leader, extremely focused as a young person, but one whose priorities and accomplishments are even more prominent in his life today. I'm sure Tom's family is proud of him as Merle is. I have a couple of asides, not in Merle's speech. I want to reiterate what I've heard tonight from many people. My family, military family, we were transferred to Aurora in 1968. And so I went through the Aurora Public Schools from elementary school. And in fact, a gentleman who's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame was my typing teacher in the 2nd grade. He took me for a ride in his red Toyota Land Cruiser, as mentioned by Danny, riding around other people's cars. Another person here tonight, a member of the Hall of Fame. Also, when I 11, 12 years old, shook my hand, handed me a white card and said, "Congratulations, you're on the wrestling team." I didn't know what wrestling was on that day. But those men and the women that we're recognizing tonight, they're the reason I became a teacher in the early 80s. They're the reason that I tried in the 80s to transfer to Rangeview, and I tried again in the 90s, and finally around 2000, I made it. And to be here, to be part of the Rangeview community meant everything. I bought a home in this neighborhood. My 4 children graduated from Rangeview High School. I'm incredibly honored to be a Rangeview Raider and to be a part of this group of people. And the same goes with Tom Clemen. He drove me. When I got my first opportunity to be the head coach here, there was I will call it a vibe, a feeling in the room that this was the hardest working group of young people at Rangeview. And that survived from Ron England and Tom Clemen and Earl Steele. And so when I went in there, the boys expected high intensity. They expected that we're going to be somebody, and we're not going to get there without working hard. We're not going to get there without paying the price. Tom Clemen paid the price. I remember I was coaching in Hinckley. I got to shake his hand a lot after he turned one of our kids into a pancake or whatever. And I remember he was focused. He trained all the time after his first trip to state. He didn't miss a training session. He would go to other schools when the season was out, when wrestling was out of season, to continue to strive. And that was what Rangeview meant to me. You strive to succeed. And I set as a goal, I want athletes like Clemen. And fortunately, in 2002, we got another state champion. And who was there to congratulate him at an all-school assembly in front of his coaches and fans? Tom. It is an honor to recognize Tom Clemen into the 2023 Rangeview Athletic Hall of Fame.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. I have my notes up here to keep you focused. It is really nice to be here. I want to start by thanking Sean and the committee. Can't tell you what a surprise it was to be thought of 26 years later. I was honored and humbled. This isn't in my notes, but I really wanted to be said. Thank you, Coach Corby, for standing in for Merle and for saying all those kind words. And Coach Steele, I know you're watching this. Thank you for all those kind words as well. And we'll get to you in just a minute here. But what I really wanted to say was, as Coach Corby mentioned, I went on to do some things past Rangeview. I was an NCAA All-American, captain of my team. I got to train all over the world, compete all over the world. Got to do some cool stuff. None of that was I ever more proud of what I did here. Winning that state championship here, as far as my athletic career, was the greatest thing I ever did. Doing it with the people that I did it with, and I count them as having wanted to with the Englands, with my teammates, with Coach Steele, Coach Faddis. Everyone else was a part of it. Everyone supported me, my parents, all of it. Everyone took a part of that. And it is by far and away my greatest athletic achievement, just because we did it here. With that said, tonight is about remembering and reminiscing about our past great accomplishments. But aside from my relationship to Jesus, it would be wrong if I did not mention my greatest accomplishment. And they're sitting right over there. My lovely wife, Renee, my daughter, Grace, my son, Tristan, and my daughter, Greta. sister-in-law, Ruthie, and who surprised me, and also surprised me with my aunt and uncle, Bob and Barb. So thank you all for being here this morning. All right. When I arrived here at Rangeview in 1993, we had just moved to the area. My 10-year-old sister had recently died. My parents had recently been divorced. And it was kind of a rough life for me. Just trying to figure things out. I got here, and there were so many people that I could name who were just spent so much time pouring love and energy into me, and just helping me out, guiding me. I have to name a few of them. I know I'll miss some, so I apologize if I do. Dr. Barbara Arnold, John Hostetler in the guidance department, English teacher Kathy Hayes, athletic director Joe Burton, social studies and my freshman coach, teacher Mike Lynch, and I should also mention Eric Lewis and Ryan Faddis, who were also assistant coaches during my time here. I had three main coaches. And the first two I'm going to talk about are the Inklings. They're a father and son. If you didn't know, Coach Ronnie, Sr., he is sewn into the fabric of this school. Influenced so many people. He was my primary varsity coach, as Tim mentioned. And Ron, I wrote here reserved, but I think what I really mean is kind of a hard screw. He was kind of a tough coach. He expected a lot from us, and that was good. He set a standard that we were expected to meet, and if he knew that you could meet that standard, it was expected of you. It wasn't something that maybe you get. It was demanded of you, and that was really important. That was really important. What the tone that Coach Corbin was talking about, that's what we're talking about, that intensity. But I wanted to tell you guys a quick story, something I don't really think I've ever really shared with anybody. My junior year, in the spring, Coach England grabs me in the hall and he has me come into his office, and he tells me that he's going to leave the program, that he's taking an administrative job or promotion at Douglas County High School, and that he wasn't going to be coaching the program anymore, and that he wouldn't be there for my senior year. And as he's telling me this, he starts tearing up a little bit. Well, actually, he was tearing up a lot. And I'd never seen my coach that way. I tried to give him a hug, and he kind of shoved me away, and that's how Ron was. And he told me I'd be in good hands with Coach Steele, which I was. But I will say also, Coach England continued to be a part of my life, especially that year. He found himself there at Douglas County High School, scouting out my opponents, letting me know, like, hey, Tom, this tough guy you gotta beat. You can beat him. You got this. Just do what you do. I watched him wrestle just the other night, and you got this. And he was just a very important man in my life. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but both father and son have tragically left us way too early. Ron left us a little over 10 years ago, and the next man who I'm going to mention also left us way too young. And that's Ron England Jr., senior son. Ronnie Jr., he had his demons, but I always knew the best of him. This was a man who not only did he coach me all season, but then he would take me to practices all over the city. He would take me to competitions all over the state. He would take me to competitions all over the country. He was instrumental and active in making sure that I got the training and the experience I needed to achieve my goals. I told him I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be the first champion here. And he said, let's do it. And we did it. It is with great sadness that we never saw him realize his full potential. Ronnie England Jr. was a special person. Finally, I'll talk about Merle Steele. Merle wanted to be here tonight. He and his lovely wife, Carla, could not make it, as we covered. But anyone who has ever coached or taught by Coach Steele knows that when he trained you, you were under a touch of grace. Words like integrity, humility, wisdom, patience, tactical, timed intensity. This was Coach Steele. Like Coach England, Coach Steele set the standard. Whether you were a 4-year backup or a state champion, he demanded that you meet that standard and that you perform on and off the mat. For me, Coach Steele provided the level of calmness and wisdom that I needed to accomplish my goals. And when I did, I knew that I could accomplish anything, and it has remained with me. Anyone should be so lucky to have a teacher or coach like Coach Steele. And the lessons he taught me are with me every day. I'm not going to talk for too much longer, but I did want to say a couple words about Rangeview. I'm proud to be here, honored here tonight in this school. I was very proud to be the first wrestling state champ. When Coach Corby talks about the tone, you know, that was what I was about, what we were about. For me, it was intensity, tenacity, scrapping, getting after it, a little bit of meanness. You know, that's what we brought. I've always said I was proud to have done the little things that make big differences in tough matches against good opponents. I was proud that I put the work into it. I was proud that I knew how to sneak into that wrestling room even though it was supposed to be locked. I was proud that I knew to sneak into the back stairwell by the freshman wrestling room, which no one ever pays attention to, and I could sneak in there during my lunch periods and get an extra workout. But I'm most proud to be a part of what I would call here at Rangeview High School Wrestling a legacy of toughness and integrity. In wrestling, there are 2 types of tough. There's, well, he's really good tough. And then there's, oh my gosh, this is going to be a fist fight tough. We were the latter, and I was proud of that, because that's Rangeview Wrestling. We were not always the worst team, we were not always the best team, but we were always tough. We always fought, always scrapped. We never backed down. If those matches were close, I liked our chances to pull it out, often by stubborn toughness and determination. And this toughness and integrity, that's what develops strong generations of men and women. We were and are Aurora tough. We were Rangeview tough. Last year, I was fortunate enough to see Rangeview wrestle at a tournament, and I was so proud to see this toughness and integrity still on display. And it's a credit to Coach Adam Bird and his staff for fostering this continued commitment to excellence. I will forever be proud and grateful for my time and experience here at Rangeview. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. Once again, thank you for this tremendous honor, and God bless you all.
Introducing Kurt Siebenthal, who will be presenting our next inductee.
Katie Pham is probably the greatest 10-sport athlete to ever attend Rangeview High School. Trying to get some people to come back in, or it's getting late and argue with me, but first of all, CHASA would not allow such a feat to happen. And secondly, what I mean by that specifically, she was a volleyball, basketball, and track and field star here at Rangeview High School. But she loved all sports and all competition. I first met Katie as a freshman when she was a member of my JV girls basketball team. She was physically the strongest player on the team, yet she had this soft touch that you could see in volleyball. At the end of the game, she was the only player that I wanted shooting a three-point basket. She could have been an elite wrestler. She had the patience and the skill to be an all-state golfer if she really wanted to dedicate. You can also walk into the weight room and you can still see her lifting totals on the wall. And when she first played basketball, we were in the old Continental League, and we faced some pretty stiff competition. Her old basketball coach, one of them, Robert Dennis, he always said that he would rather lose to the best, so then he knew how good our team was. Katie embodied that philosophy. She always wanted to play the best, so she knew she was the best. During her senior year, most notably, I filled in for most of the track and field season while Coach Chuck Mills was recovering. I know every inductee here tonight shared a tight bond with a remarkable coach, but Katie and Chuck had a friendship that, I don't know, few people could rival. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you here had a slice of Chuck Mills' philosophy, either about sports or his life? I know Chuck Mills is with us here tonight in spirit. During that senior year track and field meet, she completed what I refer to as the double. And I do want to correct that, but I think in the program it said that she was just shot put champion, but she won both state shot put and discus. And I brought my old digital camera here tonight. And my children, they saw it, and I'm like, Dad, what is that? And well, we used to have to take pictures and do film with a large camera. I tried to explain, just showed it to them, but on it I have some travel pictures, the birth of my firstborn child, and Katie Pham's school record shot put and school record discus. And what do? I can't delete that. I gotta leave it on the disc, from 12, 13 years ago. But it's funny that, everyone in the room tonight has an athletic career filled with trophies and medals and records. At the same time, I felt privileged to capture a wonderful piece of Raider history. The camera went into a drawer, and after I stopped coaching the throws, I think I pulled it out for the 30th anniversary. I don't know if it got used, and I've only watched it a couple times. I thought I preserved Katie's greatest accomplishments, but I was wrong. During all the winning, Katie embodied the true nature of sportsmanship. Some of you know the story of her giving up her medal at the podium at the state track and field meet because her closest rival was injured in a rainstorm that really was the cause of the injury. And Katie, some people just want to win, but Katie Pham wanted to win the right way. And I don't think she realized how many young athletes lived up to her. But reflecting back tonight, I think more about the girl that passed out skills to everyone on the basketball team her freshman year. I think about the champion thrower. It was at an all-day track meet, and then went to senior prom, and she had, Katie, you have the worst farmer's tan ever. It was awesome, because you were at a track meet all day. I think about the training, the grind that goes into a sports season that you've all experienced. I think about sitting together on the north end of the track and listening to life lessons from Coach Mills. I remember Katie's smile that stretched from one ear to the other. And I hope I've embarrassed her just enough to bring out that smile. But most of all, I think about the girl that became a woman that embodies everything we could want in a three-sport athlete at Rangeview. Katie, you are truly deserving of this induction.
appreciate it.
It is such an honor to receive this award. Thank you to everyone who believed in me and supported me through my later years. To all the athletes who received this award, congratulations. And big thanks to my big guy, Coach Mills. You have supported and believed in every part of me. You are missed every game, and I remember watching down on me this ceremony. Thank you all very much. Much love.
Good evening, I'm Stephanie Walsh, member of the Hall of Fame Committee, and it's my honor to introduce Ms. Lisa Gross, principal, and was also in our first class of inducted here at Rangeview High School.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It's awesome to see everybody here. I'm a proud Rangeview graduate with Yvette Davis, and I played softball, and people always say, "You played softball?" And I go, "Well, I stood in the outfield and watched Yvette pitch." That's what I really did, because nobody could hear her. So congratulations to Yvette and all of our inductees, and thank you all for coming and celebrating with us tonight. From 1997 to 2000, I had the honor of being the head girls basketball coach here at Rangeview. And during those 4 years, some of the most incredible female athletes walked through these doors. Every basketball coach hopes that they have a player who can handle the ball, be the point guard, the general on the floor, and every coach wishes that person was coupled with a post player who could dominate the paint. And if you had some shooters to accompany all of those key players, it's just heavenly. And I was in heaven for those 4 years. I'll never forget sitting in my interview for the head coaching position, and Carol Jenkins was on the committee with Joe Burton, and she asked me if I was ready for girls basketball records to fall. And I believe I answered something to the effect of, "Yeah, that's why they're there, to motivate players, that we'll just be the best." And not only did records fall over those 4 years, they've held for the past 23 years. And our Hall of Fame inductee this evening, Joy Jenkins, still holds 10 of the 24 current basketball records. Back corner. Joy scored 1,423 points during her high school career, including a record-setting 38 points in one game. She holds all field goal records and percentages, number of three-point shots made in one game, game-high free throws made, and Joy holds the record for single-season block shots with 40, having 10 in one game. So notice what I just said. She's blocking shots and busting threes. And that was Joy Jenkins. Joy was selected 3 times as a Continental All-League basketball player, was a first-team All-State basketball player, was a finalist for the prestigious Steinmark Award for Excellence in All Sports, and was named as a Nike All-American. Now, Joy was not only an awesome basketball player, she was also an All-League and All-State volleyball player. And I was able to track down and get in touch with Coach Lou Krause, who was Joy's volleyball coach, while they were here together at Rangeview. He's out of town and he can't join us this evening, but he got right back to me with the following about Joy, and I'm just going to read it verbatim because it's pretty awesome. He said, "It's difficult to summarize Joy's impact on the volleyball program and on me personally in such a short write-up. Coaching her was one of my favorite times in my coaching career. Even though basketball was Joy's primary sport, she could have been a very successful D1 volleyball player. In volleyball, Joy was a 3-year team captain, 4-time All-League honoree, and the 1999 Continental League MVP, 2-time All-State volleyball player, and she played in the All-State volleyball game. In her senior year, Joy led the state in kills, hitting efficiency, kill percentage, and was 3rd in blocks. Her attacking efficiency of 41% and her kill percentage of 55% was the best season of any player that I have ever coached in my 42 years of coaching at high school, club, and the collegiate level. When she graduated, Joy held multiple school single-season and career school records for attacking. Joy was a fiery competitor who led Rangeview to its best ever finish in the state tournament, which was 5th in 1999. Joy led with her words and by example. She had a refuse-to-lose mentality. Joy had a mischievous sense of humor and was a very loyal and warm-hearted person. He said, "One of my fondest memories of Joy is how she treated my then 5-month-old son. There was some mix-up in daycare, and I had to bring Eric to practice. Joy immediately yelled, 'A baby!' scooped him up, and showered him with love and attention until my wife was able to pick him up. Joy had a huge positive impact on our program and the school as a whole, and she's truly deserving of this Hall of Fame." And Coach Krause was certainly right. All of the stats Joy earned are incredible, but what was really the essence of Joy as an athlete was her dedication to her sports and to her team, her ability to reflect on losses, learn from them, adjust, and do better the very next day. Her leadership on and off the court and her fiercely competitive attitude, no matter if it was the 11-man drill in practice or playing in the Elite 8 game against Cherry Creek, was what made her tick. Joy was tenacious and on fire, and she brought her teammates with her in that intensity. She could score from anywhere, dribble down the floor at 6'3" and dish the ball to the open player. She could post up and juke the person guarding her, making her defender look like her shoes were nailed to the floor. And I loved watching Joy line up on the baseline for a full court press and seeing her opponent get so frustrated because they couldn't even get the ball in play due to Joy's 100% effort on defense. I have many great memories of Joy and the team, from hitting half-court shots in practice, hoping I would cancel practice if she did, and pretty sure I did that once, to shaking the hand of Stanford head coach Tara Vanderveer, who sat at practice in our gym recruiting Joy. All amazing. But I want to highlight 2 memories. The first was our trip to Las Vegas, Nevada to play in the Lady Wolves Invitational. We ended up losing the championship game by 1 point to our opposing head coach, who is now WNBA coach, Becky Hammond. Much like every game, Joy was unstoppable. But the best part of the trip was the fun. It was fun blasting pump-up music in our rented big bands. It was fun watching each player rub my husband's head for good luck before every game. It was fun to visit the Hoover Dam for the first time together. It was the camaraderie, the joking, and the all-out enjoyment of just being together under no pressure, but relishing in the fun of each day of that trip. So thank you for that, Joy. Our athletic trainer, Heidi Kelly, and I were reminiscing about Joy a couple of weeks ago, and she reminded me of a time that Joy dislocated her ankle her senior year. In her tenacity and going all-out attitude, Joy popped that ankle right back into place, and she rehabbed just as intensely as she did with everything related to basketball. But one day, Heidi walked into the athletic training room to see both Joy and her teammate Stacy Korleski involved in a bit of a quandary, and that included this. Mr. Bubble. Do you remember Mr. Bubble? This is the original box from 23 years ago. Heidi has had it in her office since then. And it is about where my fingers are, that's all that's left in the box. It was only used 1 time. Those of you who've been in the training room, and many of you have been in the training room, know that we have a bath in there. You can put ice in there, you can heat in there, whatever you need to rehab. And Joy just was doing that, but needed some bubbles, because who doesn't need bubbles when you're rehabbing? And so they poured 2/3 of that box into that bath, and it just wasn't bubbling up until they turned on the jets. Heidi remembers walking in, and Joy and Stacy were fiercely trying to get those bubbles popped, and somehow not all over the training room floor, although I don't think you were very successful in that. But I think this exemplifies what Coach Krause said about Joy having a mischievous sense of humor. There is no doubt that Joy Jenkins is among the greatest female athletes to grace Rangeview High School. Joy went on to take her talents to Colorado State University, playing ball for the CSU Rams. Joy, it was truly a privilege, an honor, and a joy to coach you all those years. Congratulations on your induction into this Rangeview Athletic Hall of Fame. Please welcome to the stage, Joy Jenkins.
If you ever went to one of our games, that's probably
committee for nominating me into the Hall of Fame. It's really, truly an honor to be here tonight, especially with all of you other athletes that came before and after. I can't believe it's been 23 years since I left high school. It feels like just yesterday I would be roaming the halls. I can tell you that my 4 years at this high school were some of the best years of my life. I loved going to class. When I actually went to class, it was a lot of fun, and honestly, my favorite memories are playing sports, as I think probably most of us here tonight can say the same thing. I remember the early Saturday morning practices, as much as I hated them, but Coach Gross would make them always try to make them fun and have court shot competitions and all sorts of fun things. Our long bus rides, where we'd crack yo mama jokes in the back of the bus for, I don't know, hours it seemed like to get to the other side of, the region. This is back when we were the Continental League, so we played the likes of Heritage and Highlands Ranch, and we had some pretty long road trips with traffic and everything. But yeah, those are the things I remember. I remember the games, but really it's just the connections I had with my teammates that I remember the most. I remember the late nights sitting in the training room, in the ice baths with Heidi there. We had lots of good long conversations while you sit there and wait for ice and stem and all that fun stuff. So I remember the big wins and I remember the tough losses. But truly it's about the friendships with my teammates that I remember the most. I met my best friend. I met her when we were a lot younger, but we didn't truly become best friends until first day of volleyball practice our freshman year. And she's still my best friend to this day, so it's pretty awesome. Love you, Sabrina. Now as an adult, I think I have a different appreciation of the good old days. Am I aging myself by saying that? Coach Walsh, no, don't shake your head yes on that. As teenagers, I think we were just oblivious to the long hours that our coaches put in for us. The time they spent away from their families to bring a bunch of teenage girls together and to get us to play as a team. I think about all the coaches and the staff that worked all day teaching, then coached us into the late evening hours and got home way after dark, probably after their kids were already in bed. I just want to say thank you, because I know the sacrifices that you all made for us, and I think I can speak for all of the athletes in here that we probably didn't realize it at the time, but now that we're adulting, it's tough. So just thank you for all the extra time that you spent in, because it really was some formidable time in our lives as teenagers. Now as a parent and a mom of 2 beautiful children, my little boy Cody back there, who's 3 years old, and you probably heard my little 2-month-old who's got quite some lungs out there in the hallway. I can't wait for the day that my husband and I get to watch our kids play sports. Maybe they'll be singers or dancers or playing the band or perform on stage, but let's be honest, I don't really love to play sports. I was, and I am so incredibly lucky to have 2 of the most supportive parents, Dawn and Carol, in the back. I don't think collectively they missed a single high school game that I played in. That's pretty awesome. So thank you for all the support that you've given me back then and that you continue to give me as a mom today. I really do love you. I hope one day I can support my kids in athletics like you guys both did for me. So thank you. It's easy to look at the record board and see my name, but what you don't see is the incredibly talented athletes that I played with while I was in school here. I think at one point our starting 5 in the basketball team were all Division I athletes in soccer, softball. I mean, we had some incredibly talented athletes that I played with. I for sure would not have achieved those records without them. None of them would happen without our amazing coaches. I remember posting up with Coach Walsh down there. She handed to us, how did you do that? Think about working all day and then having to go post up some crazy high schoolers? No way. So just thank you. But really, I want to give a shout out to Heidi. We used to joke back in the day in the training room that, when the athletes win the national championship and they say, who do you want to say thank you to? They're like, my mom. We'd always joke that one day that's going to be me and I'm going to say, my trainer. Well, I'm just thanking you because I did have a very serious injury. I had a very serious injury in my senior year. I dislocated my ankle, and there's no way I would have been able to come back and achieve some of those records without Heidi's hard work. So just wanted to thank you for that too. I also just want to recognize everyone that came here tonight to support me and continues to support me as a mom, a sister, an aunt, a daughter, and a friend. My awesome fiance and my family, my mother-in-law is here, my brother and his wife and their kids, and then all of my former teammates that were able to join us. Go Raiders. Reach, dream, achieve, believe, whatever it is. Yes. Funny story. I decided to play rec ball a few years ago, approximately 6 years ago. I thought I still had it. Spoiler alert, I did not. And about halfway through the season, with all of the girls that we played here, a lot of them played way after me, so they were young and in shape and all that good stuff. I yet again dislocated my ankle. And I didn't have Heidi to help me, so it was a long road to recovery. And I was old, so I mean, I am old, but you know. So yeah, it was fun. But they're all here tonight to support me, so I just wanted to say thank you. Again, thank you for the honor of being up here and being able to speak to you tonight. I just really appreciate this. And congratulations to everyone else who's now in the Hall of Fame at Rangeview. That's awesome. So thank you.
Hi, I just want to say one thing. Congratulations, Joy. I never had the opportunity. I thought about it a lot. But congratulations. You were awesome. And I know where you were on April 10th, 1982. And I know where your mom was too. Because my son was born April 10th, 1982. And Carol, Joy's mom, and I were in the same hospital room, and that's where I met them. Funny story. Anyway, I would like to present or introduce a legend at Rangeview High School. He knows this place inside and out and knows all of us very well and had a phenomenal career and quite a distinguished position as an athletic director at Rangeview High School. He had the opportunity to put in place a lot of the people and the accolades that you hear about are directly attributed to Joe Burton and some of the wisdom he's had. So I would like to introduce Joe Burton.
Hey, Joy, did you leave? You remember what I used to call you and Stacy? That's right, I just told you the Twin Tower. You walk down the hall and you couldn't see anything else but them. Congratulations. I've had the great honor tonight of introducing a very wonderful man and a good friend of mine. TJ Henderson, he was track coach, cross country coach, and by the way, thanks for you guys for staying. I know it's been a long night, but he's worth the effort. I called TJ, I found out that he had asked me to introduce him at this event, so I called him about 10 days, 2 weeks after I got the notice that I was going to introduce him, and asked him to send me some information so I could have some background information on him. I waited for about 2 weeks and I didn't get the information. So I sent him a text and I said, if you don't send me anything in the next 3 days, I'm just going to go down to the local law enforcement and get your rap sheet. Those of you that know TJ know that's funny because it's true. How do you begin to honor TJ? Here's a bit about his background. He was head boy at Adams City High School, where in his words, he graduated magna cum laude. His words, not mine. He earned many awards as a player and as a coach. To name a few, All-State football, All-State in track and field. He was a Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference pole vault champion. Most of us didn't even know what the thing was. While attending UNC, he coached and taught at Steamboat Springs High School, Aurora Central High School, and he came to Rangeview High School in 1983, where he taught math and coached track. How many of you guys were here in 1983 when we opened this up 40 years ago? Raise your hand. It looks like maybe a handful. Boy, can you remember that day 40 years ago? I get goosebumps. This was, what a place. Joe Farrell was the opening principal. Joe Farrell was a wonderful man and a great leader, and he set the tone. He was only here for 2 years, but boy, did he build a great institution. As TJ was here, he was Teacher of the Year 3 times at this high school. He was the president of the Colorado Track and Field Coaches Association and also the Colorado Track and Field Officials Association. If he couldn't beat him fairly, he cheated to do it. He had to join the association to do it. He coached 49 individual state champions in track, 3 relay teams, 4 state champions in cross country. Kevin Hurd, a Rangeview athlete, among them. And in 1987, TJ's team won the 1987 state championship in cross country. Having said all of that about TJ and his many accomplishments, his greatest attributes were his ability to inspire students, both in the classroom and on the track. Between he and Rob Schreck, they had hundreds of kids out for track cross country. I'm reading this because I don't want to wander and make this any longer. TJ had the uncanny ability to make kids feel wanted, needed, and important. He had endearing names for most of those he coached and taught. For example, he had what he called the Nerd Squad. Remember that, TJ? That was the smartest kids relay. And he made room for all of them. Matter of fact, TJ got in big trouble one time for making room for all of them. Remember, TJ? He did a great thing at the wrong time. I loved him for it. TJ was a combination of the Pied Piper and prime time for Rangeview High School students and staff. As the AD, I could always count on TJ to include hundreds of students and staff. He supported all of the sports and activities. He was occasionally the MC at our pep assemblies and would either ride his unicycle juggling or walk on his hands the length of the gym to start the assembly. I've never met anyone quite like him. With his ability to engage kids in my 51 years in education, he taught me so much about how to treat people. I will begin by using one of his sayings. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better best. That's TJ. TJ, welcome to the Rangeview Hall of Fame.
Hey, where's Sean? Sean, where are you? Sean Palmer? Is he still in here or did he go home? So, I just wanted you to know that I thought we were supposed to have limited time on how long we could talk. And now the CU game's on and I'm still here. I don't know if any of you watched the local news this week. I think it was on Monday. Joe was on TV. They were interviewing him. For those of you that don't know, he lives in Parker, but he has a beautiful home. It's kind of out there in the rural area, and there was a bear that was kind of terrorizing Parker. So knowing Joe, like I know Joe, he went out looking for him, took a gun. Sure enough, shoots and kills this bear. So they they interviewed him on TV. It was Fox Local News. And they were interviewing him, and they said, well, Mr. Burton, can you tell us exactly what happened? How did you do this? He goes, well, I was looking for him, and I had my gun. I'm walking around my house, and sure enough, the bear jumps out right in front of me, and I just wet my pants. And the gal says, well, I can imagine something that frightening. And he goes, no, just now when I went, grr. That's how old we are. I'm like the rest of them. I'm very honored to be here. I'm honored to be alive, to be honest with you. To achieve such an honor as this is with all these individuals and bringing up names and guys like the late Chuck Mills, who I coached when he was in high school. I was student teaching at Random. He went to Random, and I got to coach him. And boy, what an athlete. This kid was big. In high school, I think Chuck weighed about 280 pounds. He was a Native American, but he was agile. And a good basketball player, good football player, and he could swim forever. But he was like a whale, so that's made it easy for him. First and foremost, I want to thank my family. My wife's here, Teresa, and my daughter's here, Lacey. My daughter is a Paralympian, and she competed in the Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games as a Paralympian. Very proud of her. I want to thank the committee, and I want to thank the people that started this. This is an incredible event, and I apologize to you for you people having to be here this long, but I appreciate you being here and not throwing anything at me. I'm honored to be here because of the inductees that have gone before me. And I'm going to talk about Coach Vic Strauss. Believe it or not, at one time he did have hair. Terry Taylor, a renowned basketball coach. Unbelievable what he did while we were here. And Rob Sherrick. I think Rob Sherrick deserves about 75% of the success that I had. But Rob, Coach Sherrick, thank you. Couldn't thank you enough. Dave Gonzalez, he's also an inductee. He was one of my students in school who threw me out of the window at Peoria School there when I was teaching at Aurora Central. Him and a name that you guys will know, Jackson. Which Jackson? Not Mike Jackson. Danny Jackson. Danny Jackson won the World Series for the Kansas City Royals. They were in that class, and I had always given them a bad time. So they opened the window, came up to my desk, picked me up, threw me out the window. So thanks a lot, Dave. Jerk. And Lisa Stone, when she got up here, there's not enough that you could have said about her. Tony Angelini did a good job because she did take care of him. She'd bring him donuts and bottles of warm milk and stuff like that. Bunch of babies. I want to thank people like Wanda Bryanoff. She was the athletic director that made Joe look good. I do want to thank Joe Burton because he was, he was an excellent athletic director. And you talk about somebody that had enthusiasm. When he became the athletic director at Gateway, he went out and bought an orange and yellow van, colors of Gateway. Then he comes here and he sells that damn thing, which was junk to begin with, and then bought a red truck, bright red truck, for Rangeview. So that's the kind of guy he was. There's a couple of people here tonight that made me feel real good, and one of them brought tears to my eyes. Came all the way out here. Alex Yakupovich, he was a student here, came out and said some good things. Steve Doherty, I don't know if he's still here. He came to see me. And Pat Portley. Is Pat still here? There he is. If any of you have time afterwards, words I could tell you about that young man. Made some mistakes in his life, paid for it. I believe you got 75 years, am I right, Pat? Served 34, he's out, and he came here to see me tonight, and I appreciate it, buddy. People like Rob Sherrick. Rob Sherrick, do you remember the time we had a cross-country meet? Colorado Springs, and I was at Central and you were at Gateway, and we shared a bus, and I had Aurora Central at that time, we had a couple of black girls on our team, and the bus driver had to stop in and get gas or oil in the bus. Sherrick, are you still here? Rob? You remember this story? You got it. That's why I say he deserves 75% of my success. Because I should have been in jail that day. We were hiding so the state patrol wouldn't get us. But we're in the bus, and the girls come in. There's three of them, three little black girls. And they got tears in their eyes. I said, honey, what's the matter? They won't let me use the bathroom. What do you mean they won't let you use the bathroom? They wouldn't let me use the bathroom. And the other girl says, yeah, they won't let us use the bathroom. I went in there and I thought, there's some mistake here. So there was a guy who ran the gas station with his wife. And they were behind the counter. And I said, hey, sir, is there a problem here? These girls need to use the bathroom. And said you wouldn't let them use it. Redneck bastard. He says, I told them, I'm telling you, you're not going to use the bathroom. And I don't know what happened. I lost all composure, everything that was inside of me. And he had a newspaper on the thing, and I took that newspaper, started beating the hell out of him, and then started chasing his wife, because she was tougher than he was. And Coach Sherrick grabbed me, settled me down. We got out of there before the state patrol came, but we saw him coming, didn't we? And I told the bus driver, he was a good friend of ours too, I says, make this thing go a lot faster, buddy. The state patrol's after us. So I want to thank Rob Sherrick, because Joe said my cross-country team won the state championship. That's not the case. It was our cross-country team. Rob was the distance coach. He knew a hell of a lot more about distance than I did. Roger, you know what makes a coach feel good? And I'm sure Terry knows what I'm talking about. When you find out that there are kids, and one of the other inductees brought it up, why she became a coach and that. I had Roger Miller, who's the head coach at Legend High School, and Dave Gonzalez ended up being the head coach here. And there's quite a few more. But I can't remember. And Joe's not the only one getting old. I can't tell you what I just did in my pants. And then we already talked about Coach Mills, an incredible guy, an incredible coach, and I can see why Pham was as enthralled by him as those of us that work with him were. And let me wrap this up. Lastly, some thoughts that I have for teachers, coaches, and parents. We work with the greatest commodity this country has. We don't work with product and tires. We work with young men and women. And what I would like to say to teachers and coaches is, if you would treat every one of those students that you have and athletes that you have as if that kid was your kid. He's your kid. He's not just some some kid that goes to Rangeview High School or wherever it's at. It makes a big difference, and that's what I always try to do. Teachers, I don't know about you, but I never went to work. I never went to work. I got up every morning and went to school. It wasn't work. Now, the last 15 years were pretty tough on me. As a matter of fact, I got the hook here, and same thing happened the next school, you get thrown out, but that's because they don't. Discipline's out the window now. Nobody thinks it's important. And due process, I'll never forget the time I heard the word due process. I couldn't believe that. Kids get due process. And Jack Maserby was my principal at Lower Central, and he's the one that used that word. He says, Coach Henderson, these kids deserve due process. And I says, why in the hell didn't you tell that to my dad when I was a kid? There was no due process with my dad. Even if I was right, I was wrong. And parents, God gave you the greatest gift anybody could ever have. And that's your son or daughter. And you've got to do the best for them that you could possibly do. And that's all I got to say. Thanks a lot.
Good evening again. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Rangeview High School's most successful football coach in its 40-year history, Mr. Dave Gonzalez. Coach Gonzalez was an inductee last year in the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it at the ceremony, so tonight we're going to present him with his Induction Hall of Fame plaque. Congratulations, Chris.
Yeah, TJ. I got some more stories for you. Good evening. Tonight I have the honor of presenting John Tidwell to the 2023 Rangeview Hall of Fame class. I had the opportunity to coach John in football here at Rangeview, where he was a multi-time all-conference first-team member. He also earned first-team all-state honors as a DB his senior year. John was a spectacular receiver, defensive back, and return specialist. He was an outstanding three-sport athlete as well here, playing basketball and baseball. John was a tremendous leader and captain for the most successful team I was ever blessed to coach. He went on to play his college career at the University of Sioux Falls on a full scholarship. There he was a 4-year starter, 3-year captain, 3-time first-team all-conference, 2-time All-American, and 2-time academic All-American. He graduated with a double major in business and accounting. He went on to play professional football for the Denver Broncos in 2016 and the Frankfurt University in Europe in 2017 and 18. These are just the highlights of many achievements John attained, directly contributed by his values, work ethic, and commitment. I've had the privilege to coach many outstanding young athletes in my 34-year career. John is definitely one of the absolute best. One of the toughest two-way players ever, something that is rare these days. John applied these same attributes to his professional investment and to his profession as an investment advisor at North Star Resource Group in Minnesota. Oh, I got that right, buddy. Yep. More importantly, he's captain of his new team, which includes his wife Miranda and his beautiful baby daughter Sloan. When you get the opportunity to teach and coach a great kid like John, you hate to see him leave. It's always a hard punch, but it's bittersweet. You know that he has what it takes to be successful. Then you sit back and enjoy watching the fruits of his labor. Next thing you know, you're giving his Hall of Fame presentation speech, and you see his beautiful family and his happiness. Congratulations, John. I'm proud of you.
Well, appreciate you guys sticking around. I know it's been a long night, right? I made a joke where, yeah, I had a book written too, but I threw that out the window because I know I'm the last one. But I do want to say thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for allowing me to be a part of this great list of people and those before me, and it's pretty special. I got to kind of be in this with one of my favorite coaches and also my childhood best friend. He was inducted last year, and of course I had to say thank you to my mom, Rita, my dad, John, and my sister, Naisha, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, knowing the sacrifices that they made for me. Being a parent now, I know it's hard, so I'm extremely grateful for them. And I also, of course, want to thank my wife, Miranda, back there, and my baby girl, Sloan, who's been battling tonight for this, right? But, you know, it's one thing that, I don't know if Coach Gans, I'm glad he didn't steal this thunder. Just a quick story, don't want to move along. But when I was a freshman here, I made the freshman B team, and knowing me, I'm really competitive and didn't think that that was my caliber. And I walked up to Coach Gans after that football season and told him, hey, I'm done, I'm not playing anymore, right? Because I was told that I probably wasn't good enough to play. But coaches like him, you know, he looked me in the eye and said, what the hell do you mean? He was like, I'll see you in the morning at spring practice at 5 a.m. And I'm so thankful that he did that. Because I wouldn't be sitting up here if it wasn't for him. So, appreciate you, Coach. And you know, there's a bunch of great coaches out there. You know, Coach Hamilton, he's out there, Coach Palmer. Saw Coach Henderson. Coaches like that, you know, they paved the way for my life, right? Not only in the athletic world, but also in my personal life. And there's things that I took away from my high school athletic career that I hold dear and make sure that I do that in my daily life. And you know, my next hope and goal is to be a Hall of Fame husband and a Hall of Fame father. So that's my commitment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, John. Thank you for being here. Congratulations again to all our inductees. We have a little reception. I think the coffee's still warm. We've got some treats out there. Again, thank you very much. Please hang out a little bit, take some pictures, enjoy the evening. And again, have a great night, and we hope to see you next year.